Thanks everyone. Yeah, so it's 5 years of dojo. I mean,
Yep.
I don't remember our exact date, but basically we started around March 2020, another memorable date.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
somewhere like the last weekend of March. I think some previous dojo versaries, given the dates a little gray, have been hosted on the final weekend of March.
yeah.
What I do have here is our first group email, Kostya.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Our first group email is from February 26th, 2020. And I think it may be from like 1 or 2 days after we first started talking.
Yeah. Well, let's set it up actually, because I mean, if I remember correctly, you reached out to me, David,
Mm-hmm.
and we started talking about teaming up
Yep.
and then looping in a third person,
Yeah.
who I think we both thought of as Jesse, like independently.
Yeah.
Or like maybe Jesse.
In fact, according to this email, and I mean, you can parse the email and see if you read it the same as me. According to this email, you had thought of Jesse and me independently, and I had thought of Jesse and you, and Jesse had at least thought of me because there was at least some kind of, first video call between Jesse and me, and then a video call between me and Kostya. So here is the email. It says, "Hey, later that day after talking to you, Jesse, I reached Kostya. He said he had the same idea of doing a multiple person channel. He even has an extra non-personal Twitch channel already registered for that purpose. And that he had been thinking of contacting the two of us. So I think whenever Jesse called me or I called Jesse, the other person was like, yeah, I was thinking of calling you. And then when we mentioned you, and then we called you later that same day, you said, oh yeah, I was thinking of calling you."
That's right.
Yeah, I think the three of us can make a great team, both on the side of designing and delivering a consistent brand, and on the side of trusting each other and not having issues about dividing income if the project generates it. Which, 5 years in, hasn't really generated income quite yet. Still working on how to divide it,
Yeah.
but we haven't thought about it yet. So,
Not enough money for it to cause an issue. Yeah. No
yeah,
money, no problems.
yeah.
No money, no problem.
The next question is whether we want to add anyone else, and if so, who? Kostya had in mind 4 people. I had in mind 3 to 5 people. But we didn't have any specific names. We just had like an idea of like what would be a good team size. Then we list a bunch of names. And I say we should pick carefully. We want someone who can match our brand and someone who is not going to fight with us about money.
Wow, so already in February we're like they gotta match our brand. We didn't even start yet.
Yeah. It
We
was like
didn't
the
even have a
first
name
date.
at that point.
And we already knew like that we had a brand in some ways, even though it hadn't yet been started. But I think that's why we had each other in mind, because we like knew there was a certain baseline
Yeah.
compatibility or brand already there.
Yeah, at that time, January, February 2020, it was very competitive in the streaming space. And so yeah, there were lots of people getting into it. It was pre-pandemic, so there was no pandemic yet. So streaming was just kind of picking up popularity just for normal reasons. Like more people were getting on Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
Um
Then it
but
says,
yeah. No, I remember
Jesse.
watching Jesse's Road to GM series. That was
Right.
the thing at the time. No,
And
no,
it-
not Road back to 25.
Road back
Right,
to
right,
2500.
right. Yeah.
Then it says, Jesse, could you please suggest somebody other than Andrew Tate as a potential fourth?
Wow.
Yeah, already back then. No, continuing to read from the email, the other major question to answer at this stage, which is linked to the how many people question, is how much do we intend to do? How many hours of streaming per week and how many YouTube videos per week? If stuff we stream is good enough, we could just have a video editor turn segments into YouTube videos rather than making additional specific YouTube videos. Ooh, that's thinking. We can also come up with show ideas. I will make a brainstorm spreadsheet for this that match our brand of thoughtfulness and improvement without requiring massive preparation from us. I'd be happy to stream 10 hours a week and make 2 YouTube videos.
Amazing.
Cool.
You guys want to hear Kostya's response?
Okay.
Yeah.
Kostya writes, hey guys, a couple thoughts from me. If you guys are in, I'd be happy to stream 10 hours a week and put a lot of work into growing the channel. I started ChessDojo because I wanted to work with others, and I feel like it's a decent brand/logo that could work for what we're trying to do. So I'd be super happy to just have you guys join in and go all in on that, with all of us keeping our individual Twitch channels for whatever we want to do on our own. The Discord channel is pretty active and a great place for followers to discuss chess stuff. Kostya still likes the Discord. Whether we go with ChessDojo or not, a Discord channel would be really important for community building, so we should have one in any case. From there, we could do classes, teams, team battles, tons of fun stuff. If we're all on board / on the same page, I'd lean towards just starting as the three of us and be open to adding people, streamers to the team if they fit the channel / vision. I'm sure if the channel is successful and looks fun, people will be asking us to join in. Hasn't happened yet, huh? And we could have flexibility in letting people stream on the channel every once in a while, but without being a full partner. Definitely think the YouTube channel should just have clips, highlights, and segments from the Twitch streams, and we should stream to YouTube as well and look into their membership program, similar to Twitch subs, which may be currently underused in chess. It took us
That is still true. We still got to do that.
It took us like 3.5, 4 years to look into that, but we are currently streaming to YouTube as well as Twitch.
That's true. Yeah, and you can join the channel on YouTube, folks, and get certain benefits that YouTube will list for you.
That we don't even know what they are yet.
Of choice. I'm sure it's reduced ads. I'm sure that's one of them. You get a shout out, a little badge maybe, badge by your name. Z-Web, thanks for 26 months.
Yeah.
You know, one thing for me, it's fascinating to think back on that time is, the dream at that point we weren't even thinking about the training program or anything. And then the dream was like, let's try to crank it with YouTube and or Twitch. And yeah, dude, we were going for it. And I remember that was before DM Hokie came on board. I remember doing like learning how to do thumbnails myself in some like terrible like learning experience of like how to, I don't know what the app was called, but it was some app to make a thumbnail. And I remember we had to make like, I think 1,000 subscribers, and then we could get monetized by YouTube. And I was like, yeah, once we hit that 1,000, we're going to be making some money. Every little subscriber went up. I was like, yeah, we're on the path to making some money. It's just amazing. Now we're very close to 100,000, but we're still not even close to making any money.
Yeah, for anyone's curious, it's like $300 a month off YouTube at our current size. And I actually, I've been told
it's $80, Kostya.
What'd you say?
I'm pretty sure it's $80.
No, it's $80 a week.
Oh, yeah, I totally misunderstood it.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's a whole different ball game.
It's not great. We have people to pay. We got the three of us.
Yeah.
300 a month isn't great. I've been told we have a very good audience too, because our audience is mostly US based, which I think gives us more ad revenue, or I would think, than normal.
Wait, that's great news, guys. We're making $300. I thought we were making $80.
Well, it's weird. There was a point, like, I want to say years ago, maybe 22 or something, where we were making 500 a week, and there we had much less views. So I don't know what kind of scam happened. So now we're only making 300. But yeah, I think we made for a while, we were making 500 a week. I have no idea why.
You mean a month, not a week?
A month, excuse me.
A month, yeah.
On YouTube, you think?
Yeah, I know. I remember. Yeah.
Huh. That's amazing.
But okay, I mean, it was always about the community. It was never about, the trying to make it big. The benefits of teaming up, I thought, were always extremely apparent, not just in terms of like the business side, but also just like in terms of chess, like working on chess. I mean, having a community is just super important.
Yeah. Here's the next thing Kostya wrote that day, still from the same email. Would be great if the video editor / graphics person was a chess player who was like excited about our cause and willing to do work in exchange for chess lessons. Might be a unicorn, but that would be ideal. And that sort of presaged Hokie about a year later, joining us. And well, we gave him a quarter of the business instead of chess lessons. But otherwise, that's how it went. It was somebody from the training program, and pretty much everybody who works with us now, and it's a huge team actually, is somebody from the ChessDojo community, right? Is there anybody who isn't?
No, I don't think anyone that like works for us regularly. I think most people, are just from within the dojo, which is very cool.
So here's the thing I want to ask about that, and compared to now. So in that time, right, like Bezos bought Twitch. I forgot exactly when, but I want to say 21 or 22, somewhere around there. And it wasn't like a Musk takeover of Twitter, but don't you feel like Twitch is less of a big deal than it was when we first started?
Yeah, Twitch has definitely lost some numbers.
Yeah.
Like across the board. I feel like streamers get fewer numbers on Twitch than they used to.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but at the very beginning, we weren't streaming to YouTube, and I think a lot of other people weren't either, right? So that's like become a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think at the time, if you were a Twitch partner, then you weren't allowed to stream on other platforms. And then they changed that. So now we can. Actually, that was a big thing for us trying to get Twitch partner. I don't even remember.
Yeah, that's right.
That was after the 1,000 YouTube subs. That was definitely like a huge hurdle after that.
Yeah.
And we definitely got rejected at least once or twice.
That's right. I remember the rejection. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was because, okay, here's also interesting to think back on. So at the beginning, we had a deal with Chess.com where they would feature us. And so we would have streams where it would say that like 800 people were watching our stream. In fact, it was just that like 800 people were also on that whatever page of Chess.com was going on at the time.
Yeah.
And we still have Chess.com on most of our templates and stuff. David doesn't have this one on now. Fine. But Chess.com, dude, they haven't been giving us any love at all. No love from Chess.com.
Yeah, they still have this like rotating embed thing.
Yeah.
Though I don't know how much we see it.
As far as I can tell, Kostya, we haven't been embedded a single time in the last 3 months, if not 4.
Longer.
5.
I mean, I haven't seen that big numbers jumping for.
Guys haven't seen that. Yeah,
Never.
we might have been booted off. We gotta check it out. Well, occasionally we do like the we'll do a lead chess stream every once in a while, and then they have to take us off. But I think normally they're supposed to put us back on.
Right.
But yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, we should check in on
this
that.
Isn't really a template I have here, guys. It's just a screen capture of our Zoom. It's just threw
That was one of
3
my
big heads.
favorite things about the comments yesterday was just how many people were like the Zoom names of us all having the same name. How many people thought that was a bit? They were like, "Oh, great bit with the Zoom," and we were like, "Yeah, thank you." Definitely not how all of our meetings are.
Yeah.
All right. I just figured out how to change the name, dude. Well,
Nice work, Jesse.
Cool.
Nice work. I think we should read your email as well, Jesse.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So there's 3 emails in a row here. The first one from me, then from Kostya, then from Jesse. Here's Jesse's answer, which came the next day. And he says, "Hi, David and Kostya. Sorry it took me a bit to get back on this. I wanted to think about it some." So he took a day. But I take 2 to 3 days to answer an email nowadays. I'm just so busy with the kids. But okay. He says, "First, you guys are way ahead of the game in terms of tech know-how." So already he's like, I don't know if I know how to use all these Discord channels and streaming apps and stuff. Okay. "You might also have more time than me. I am not." A what, Jesse? What?
A billionaire of time.
A billionaire of time. That's right.
That's
I am
right.
not a billionaire of time. And I cherish the non-computer chess study that I can do.
Dang.
Like your offline time. "Here are my only intelligent thoughts. I think a platform needs a narrative. So not just a this is who we are and what we look like, but this is where we are going. As an example, I don't follow the Chess Bros, but Amon not shaving his beard until he made GM was fantastic. As a fan, I want something to be on the line and really don't want to get insight from teachers who aren't that involved themselves. So personally, my intuition is that the platform should be about self-improvement and that we as teachers need to at least strive for that same improvement. This is a self-interested suggestion. Me doing the show recently has been the most rewarding for me, and that has showed in the response from others. That must be the road to 2,500, right?
Right.
I can't speak to Kostya, but I know Pruess going for GM would be an interesting decision, especially because I predicted he would come back to it about 10 years ago. But also because he is now not a billionaire of time, and it does require time and spiritual energy. ChessDojo is plausible, but the negatives are that we don't own the name on Twitch or Twitter.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Well, we
fought hard for those names. That was
we
a
got the names
years-long
at least.
battle.
We got the names.
David,
to the
I
guy's
think-
credit, the dude that owned the names just messaged me one day and said, "Hey, you can have them. I'm not doing anything with them." So
Yeah.
that was very nice of them.
That took years, though. We were Chess Dojo Live forever, and then on Twitter we were something else.
Yeah, I think we've still been Chess Dojo Live longer than we've been
Right.
Chess Dojo.
David, I
but
think
Chess Dojo Live, that was a cool
yeah.
username. I remember when the Boteses changed their Twitch thing to Botes Live, and I was like, "Oh, we had Chess Dojo Live first, and then they became Botes Live."
Yeah, we gave it up. Oops.
David, I think you need to scooch the template just a little bit to the right. Just a little scooch.
Just a little scooch. Okay. It's not a template, but I can scooch the thing. Is that good?
Probably. Let's see. Yeah.
I have something set up for later for the game show. That'll look, that'll look spiffier, less like, Zoom _meeting _0402.
Wow. So actually, I didn't realize how much. I thought we kind of sort of figured stuff out on the way, but we actually knew a lot about what we wanted to do all the way back then before we even did a stream together or anything.
A lot of what we said on the very first day, as we're basically introducing to each other our own thoughts for the first time, because we'd thought of each other, but we had not talked to each other about the fact that we'd thought of each other. A lot of it is pretty consistent with where we are now.
Okay, but the big difference was, I think at that point, the dream was to grow as a platform, and we hadn't thought about training program or anything like that.
Definitely not.
So it was like
training programs, maybe the biggest turn or unanticipated thing that we've had here, right?
Yeah. And that was 2022, so we were already 2 years in when we did that.
Right. And yeah, people say we've grown a lot, which always amazes me because I still feel like we're such a tiny fish in the pond of the chess sea. But I remember seeing people say back in like 2021 or 2022, they're like, "Oh yeah, there's all these big channels that have come out of the pandemic, like the Chess Dojo," and I'm like, "Whoa, like big channels." Thank you.
Well, the thing is, Kostya, there's probably like 1,000 channels out there that are smaller than ours. You just don't know about all the channels that are smaller.
True, comparatively, yeah.
It's amazing how many chess sites there are out there. There are so many out there.
Yeah. So I think we've got a really cool question from Say Chess, and we don't get to speak to Say Chess as often anymore since I've stuck with Twitter because it's my only social media period. It's the only one I know how to use, right, Jesse? So I just keep it rolling. But Say Chess asked us, what is the heart of Chess Dojo now after 5 years? Like, what is
Oh, it's definitely a training program. Yeah. That's where we spend most of the time and energy too.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, that's pretty fair. I mean, it's a very big training program, and Okay, I would extend it to the Discord as well, because it's like a
Hmm.
bunch of people. That's where they communicate. But yeah, I mean,
I think of the Discord as being part of the training program.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, for me, actually, it would be different. I would say there isn't like one heart to the chess dojo. It's like all these different pieces. So I mean, there's
Hmm.
definitely like the community, all the people who like train together, hang out together, talk together about chess. You know, everybody who's involved in it in some way is like an important piece. But in terms of like the thrust of what we're trying to do, there isn't exactly a common thread between Twitch and YouTube and the training program and other things. I feel like there's just like a lot of stuff going on, and basically dojo tools, right? Which is not yet officially a thing, but you know, all of us know that it is kind of a thing, right? Which is like we've got a cloud chess base software up on our site now, right? And game database of master games and dojoer games, and opening analysis is starting to creep in there, and you know, course library and our own way of doing tactics. And
Hmm.
so I think there's just, to me, I actually, I mean, this is like a horrible sounding answer, but I don't think there's one heart right now. I think it's, you know, just a lot of projects.
I think that podcasts have their own little life on its own too,
Exactly.
Um, I think we're at 150, Kostya, is that right? The podcast?
Yeah, I mean, technically, we've just released. I think 148 was with
Uh-huh.
Elizabeth. That's the last one we've released,
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah.
and then we've recorded a couple more. But well, actually, I think since then we have recorded two more. But
Right.
Hmm.
we could release this one. You know, it's kind of like a little dojo
Uh-huh.
origin story kind of thing as 150. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Dojo
It's
Origin.
it's
Yeah.
currently ongoing, but yeah. Um,
Yeah. Several people remembering, Kostya, that early on you were giving book recommendations. That was an early value you
well,
provided to the
Hmm.
Discord
that's still a
group,
thing. You know,
and some
people will come
videos.
in, you know, first time chat and be like, "Hey, I'm 2000. What book should I be reading?"
Yeah.
So
Right.
that is a tradition that is carried on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. We had some changes too. We changed our logo kind of halfway through,
Hmm.
which I feel like was I think that was a good change.
Yeah.
Um,
And we just got so many more people, like Jack coming on board, dude. That was massive. Oh, dude, that was game changer. Getting Jack on board, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, there's definitely like epochs where it's like we had like a new era. I think DM Hoki joining was one because now we had
Hmm.
someone to like help us, so we didn't have to make thumbnails anymore, like
Yeah.
edit
Yeah.
videos. Then like Jack joining the training program. Uh, mm, then okay, I mean I'm sure we'll have new stuff. Okay, Draymond's asking where do we see ourselves in 5 years? I think that's a good um question. I'm hoping that within 5 years, we'll finish our current backlog of projects that we've got on our because we honestly have so much stuff now. Um, but I would see the dojo being around in 5 years. I would imagine more coaches, a lot more
Hmm.
student coaches. You know, so there's going to be people that have been in the program for many years at that point, and maybe they're around 2000, 2200, 1800, but they're very familiar with the philosophy, and so they're very good at supporting players that are lower than that, around 12, 1300 level. I could see student coaches being at that range that are working and helping the beginners and supporting them. Um, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, at some point, you know, AI is going to take over, and that's going to be here.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, like within 5 years, it seems like such a long time away in terms of like how quickly the technology seems to be advancing. But
Yeah.
Yeah. There will
yeah, there's
probably
probably going
be.
to be some kind of AI versions of us
Yeah.
telling you guys what to study.
Exactly. We'll have like 3 AI bots or more because we'll have more coaches by then, ideally. but a Jesse bot, a Kostya bot, and a me bot that you can chat with about your games.
I definitely think when you think 5 years down the road, not just Dojo, but just in general, the AI thing. I heard this dude make a claim today, and it resonated with me that AI is the most uh, consequential human invention ever. And I was like, I guess so, dude. I guess so. And I feel like all this stuff it's doing now is just peanuts compared to what it's actually going to be able to start really spitting out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like already we have a thing that talks can Jalp created this thing which um gives you a little synopsis of a chess game and stuff, and it's not amazing yet, but it was obvious to me when I saw the demo. I was like, well, this is gonna turn into a thing. And then what happens to chess coaches then, dude?
Mm-hmm.
I guess, not all chess coaches will lose their job, but like, if you have the convenience to just for 20 cents have some AI thing look at your game and tell you something insightful, you're gonna take that, you know.
Yeah.
You know. But hard to predict, I guess, from the 5 years, what exactly it'll look like.
Yeah. I would wager that I will have moved to a more part-time role by then. I've been meaning to for like 2 years now. So
We'll talk more about that, David. So, because you have imagined like other projects you'd like to do, kind of thing.
yeah, I mean, actually, 5 years here is a really, really long time for me. Like, I don't normally do anything for 5 years.
Right.
I like variety. I like trying out different things in life and in the world, and getting lots of different experiences. So I remember I worked for chess.com for 4 years, and I was like, wow, 4 years. That's like by far the longest I've ever worked somewhere. Yeah. I used to like quit jobs after 6 months and be like, awesome. It was really fun. I learned a lot. Let's go and work another job in another industry.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years with ChessDojo is like a really, really long time. For me, I think partly it's because my time is kind of compressed by the kid factor now, right? So when I was younger, I would work 100-hour week because I didn't have the kids, and so you could really get a lot done in 6 months and get pretty far into something. And here with ChessDojo, we've got all these like projects, and I was like, oh, I want to finish this, this, and that. And then, it might take years because I'm working at it so much slower. But yeah, I want to do other things, and right now the things that are really interesting to me beyond chess teaching, I've got a few ideas. One is music. Another is some kind of environmental work. And then another idea is either to like write some essays or start a kind of like argument podcast or show, if that makes sense. Like basically you'd bring in people to argue about all kinds of different topics.
A debate show.
Yeah, basically a debate show, and sort of set a good example about how to argue with people, even people with very different opinions, right? Or on controversial topics. And show how to actually argue, how to actually change your mind, and how to sort of interact and improve your ideas. Because I feel like most people are lugging around the same crummy ideas for like 30, 40, 50 years, not revising them. So I think that could be a really fun or interesting project.
Well, actually, David, let me ask you. So I was just thinking back on it, and it was the summer right before you were going to move to France, and you were saying that you were going to like do this other like it was like ocean related environmental project. And then so looking back on that, what happened there?
Just that I didn't finish like stuff I wanted to do with the dojo. I just didn't finish stuff, and it always goes slower than I intended, or we always come up with more things that sound really cool to me. Could be a part of it as well, right? Like obviously like this course that I just did in the first quarter of 2025, I hadn't planned it back then, and it sort of came up. Yeah, there's always like new opportunities and projects that come along that I know that are exciting enough that I add them to my list, and then I'm never at a place where I'm done. And then another obstacle has been finding another coach, right? Like I could reduce my role or my hours. I see myself always doing something, by the way, because I've done chess all my life and I love it. But not finding another coach who could, spread the load with you guys is one thing that basically prevents me from moving along.
One thing, actually, history of dojo is interesting. So Jessie Feb is in the chat. I rated her earlier. She rated us back. It's just a circle of violence that we have going on here. And one thing that struck me as history about the dojo is, so me and Kostya were approached. Gosh, let me think back on this. I guess it was.
Yeah, it was like 2021 probably. The co-chess thing?
No, the co-chess thing was prior to 21. It was definitely in 2000. And so it was Jessie Fab. So it was one of these Magnus projects. So one of these companies that Magnus had bought and was putting too much capital into. And they created this thing called co-chess. Anyways, I bring it up because Jessie Feb was in there. Kostya was in there. I was in there. So that was that was prior to dojo. And then into dojo, like it happened before dojo started, and then that first bit of dojo we were both doing it. And anyways, that site was a disaster. That site was a total disaster. They tried to reinvent Zoom and their thing and everything. Oh man, they spent so much money. Yeah, they sent a fancy photographer from Philly to my house. He had drove all the way down here and then took fancy photos of me and stuff. Yeah, that was anyways, but I think Kostya, that was, I don't know if we were put in contact through that, but that was definitely like a point where we were interacting.
Yeah, it all blends in for me. I actually thought that was after we started dojo already, but
It was.
I feel like it was like, and maybe it was just in 2020, just like
It was
right
definitely
during
in 2020. Yeah.
the pandemic era. Yeah.
I think my first awareness of Jessie February was just watching her stream, like just clicking around on channels, seeing which channels were cool, like, and people in our chat telling us which other channels they liked, right? And then you would just sort of be like, these are channels that are kind of in sync with our viewers, so these are the channels that I'm consistently rating or getting rated from.
Right.
Yeah. No, Jessie Feb, longtime friend. She was one of our first contestants on Ultimate Sensei.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge. Yeah, one of the OG streamers.
Oh, by the way, so
that was the name of the co-chess show, Chess Talks. That was pretty fun.
One of the so interesting, we had on that show, we had Chess Gaines, whose real name is Maxime Farbroff. I played him at this little tournament, first round recently, so that was amazing.
Go Max.
And he, he was like, I want to say he was about 1900 strength at that time or something.
Yeah.
And now he got to 2200. He told me he just completed his first Chessable course. So that guy's got an interesting story. And then we had this dude, Dylan Mees, or Mize, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. And he's working for Chessable now. And so we had and Jessie Feb. And so we had a bunch of people on there who later became kind of famous in the chess world.
Yeah, I mean, like, Gukesh was in the first season of Ultimate Sensei. It was very, very strong. It was really
very strong. Yeah,
really great group.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if folks in general have heard about this, but chess.com is finally doing a version of Ultimate Sensei, basically. I
Coach Champs.
think it's called Coach Champs, Kostya.
Is
that right?
Yeah, Coach Champs.
Finally doing Coach Champs.
And you were
So,
invited to be one of the coaches, right?
so I'm going to be one of the coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Uh-huh.
And actually, the history of that idea is I came up with that idea long, long, long ago when I was a chess.com employee. I made a spreadsheet of like 35 different ideas for events that chess.com could do, right? Like Magnus against the world, or, team chess, or hand and brain this or that, or, Fisher Random World Chess League, or stuff like that, right? And one of the events in that brainstorm spreadsheet long, long ago was a chess coaching contest where you'd have, a number of contestants drafted by teachers and then trained for a while. And then, you'd see how they do at some final event and then tabulate their scores to give a coach score. And so all these years later, chess.com's finally doing that event. And I'm, of course, happy to be part of it.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah, you got to bring the title home.
Well, yeah, for sure.
'Cause I consider Coach Champs to be, season 3 of
Season
Ultimate
3
Sensei.
of Ultimate Sensei, yeah.
I think we ran the first 2 seasons here, and now
Yeah.
season 3.
Yeah, it's definitely, there is a continuum there. And of course I will win it. But I don't know if all the other contestants realize that.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's tough though. It's only a month, right? The competition.
Yeah,
So
it's a very
yeah.
short period of time.
Yeah. You gotta pound those tactics and opening traps.
Normally I try and teach people to get better at chess, but in 4 weeks, it's more practical to just train them to get better at whatever the final event is, right?
Right.
Like if you were 4 weeks before a tournament, you wouldn't try and get 50 points better at chess. You would just do like, okay, what can I do to be ready for my next event?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a little bit more of like a preparation champs, but
Nice.
we'll adapt
Yeah.
and do it.
Yeah. You should prep some tricky openings.
Yeah.
All right, David, you have a trivia show for us?
I have a game show for you guys.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah,
Nice.
maybe one last question for Jesse and
Okay.
Kostya for this topic here, and then we'll go on to the game show. More game shows, by the way, is something that I would like to see in the dojo more over the next couple years, as somebody was asking. But let me ask each of you, what's one thing that we might do in the dojo in the next 1 to maximum 2 years that you're really pumped or excited about? Something that you really want to do that we have not finished yet?
I would say for myself that when we develop the UI for the opening trainer that can also be used as the tactics trainer, that that will be a golden thing that will really increase the value of our site. And it's also something then that I can imagine giving a lot of energy to. So like doing problem creation and then opening course creation once we have that UI. So I think that's the big one for me.
Yeah, definitely huge.
I had one. I'm excited about us introducing um, some more metrics for the user, like performance stats. So the dream is that for people, any games that they upload to the site, they'll be able to, we'll just give them performance statistics based on those games, like performance with white, with black, against high rated players, low rated players, against E4, against D4. And I feel like once we get that in, that'll really encourage people to upload their games to the site and then take their game analysis seriously, because they'll feel like they'll get this kind of info out of it. Also, the game review economy. Once that is kind of in place, I think that'll be super cool as well. And then people will be much more. People are already great about like reviewing games with each other, but once we can kind of put more of a structure in place, I think it'll be beautiful.
Yeah.
Shout out to Matt Chess. So I didn't realize this. He says he was in your channel, Kostya, the first day you rolled out the dojo channel.
Wow.
That's amazing. That's a long time. Um, I want to give him a special shout out because he helped me do the stats for this latest video that it's not out yet, but it's coming out. I thought it was amazing work. So that'll come out soon, that YouTube video.
Yeah.
All right, David, how about
All
you,
right.
bud? What do you want?
Well, I mean, visionary as always, you guys. I think it's easy to get caught in the weeds, but you guys have a clear vision of like what the most important things are going forward, and the opening / tactics trainer UI, and the dashboard from Kostya, right? Showing your strengths and weaknesses. Those are the two most important things. I think what I'd be most excited for personally is just hiring a couple more coaches, bringing them in as committed partners in the business. That's what we need most, because everything else has grown except like the 3 teachers. And when you put in all the work on, let's say, the training program, dojo tools, and then content, it's just not possible for the 3 of us, so we can't do new talk shows and do new game shows and do our own training and go to tournaments and train other people and work on the website. It's just too much. So this part needs to grow. So
Yeah. I mean, for sure. You're saying we're the bottleneck.
Yes.
At this point.
I'm saying 100% we're the bottleneck. It's got to be, that's the rate determining step, right? Or the reagent that we don't have enough of for the reaction is we need more sensei.
Maybe. I feel like we could still use more help around us with stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like there's still a lot more teaching and stuff that we could be doing.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears.
Okay.
Thanks everybody who's been with us for any part of these 5 years. It's really fun. Somebody asked if our goal was to make money. No, our goal's been more like to bring value to all of you. And
oh yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, why are we doing this if it's like not making good money? Yeah, because it's just I mean, I just want to spend my time well. That's kind of my goal. So that's always been my goal with chess, because I could have I have like a business degree, so I could have pursued like a finance job or done all kinds of stuff. But yeah, I always just wanted to. I never liked the prospect of just having money be my job. Like my job was to just make money out of more money.
Yeah.
I just thought that was just such a silly job. I was like, what? How does this work? Yeah, no, I mean, it's nice to contribute to the world in our own little way. Like I feel like the more people that learn chess and use chess, the more they get benefit out of it in the long run. Like there's like medical benefits to having a bit of chess in your life. There's social benefits. It's like a good hobby. I mean, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening.
Okay, do it. Sign off.
Yeah, check out the Patreon if you'd like to support the dojo, support the podcast. That's the best way to do it. It's like $2 a month, and it lets us know you care. Otherwise, like, subscribe, review, share as usual. Okay, let's switch gears.